All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Talent Show, where you will meet the people that power TTEC. I'm Rebecca, and I will be your host for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining us wherever you are in the world. Today, we're going to have really an action-packed discussion, and I know you're going to walk away with understanding more what's happening here at TTEC, also how you can be a better ally with our neurodiversity community. There's just so many things we're going to talk about today. So we're glad that you're here. Please drop in the chat where you're joining us from so we can get to know you. And just like that, it is April. I'm not sure where January, February, and March went, but it is April. And with that is our celebration of Neurodiversity Month. So today's discussion is really going to be around a strengths-based approach, how we can all lean into our strengths, discover our strengths, and then create a practice, a mindfulness practice around it, which our guest today, Sarah Farmer, is really going to help us jump into. So wherever you are joining us in the world, grab that notebook, pen, phone, however you take notes, because I know you're going to walk away with a lot of really insightful information that can help power you in your career and in your life as well. I see someone's joining us from Denver, Colorado. Welcome. We're glad that you're here with us today. So we have a lot that we can discuss today. This conversation could take many turns and many different directions of what we could talk about. So let's jump right on in and meet Sarah Farmer. She is our Director of Sales Enablement here at TTEC, which we'll learn more about. She also happens to be in Phoenix, which is where we're currently joining you from, sunny Arizona today. And she's going to help unpack her journey, what got her to be the best version of herself. And I know that this information is going to help each of us to become the best version of ourselves. So without further ado, let's meet Sarah.
Hi, Rebecca.
Hi, Sarah. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Good. Well, welcome. It's not often that I get to talk to someone else from Phoenix because we are a global company. So I'm talking with people all around the world, but it's nice to know a kind of a neighbor is here on the call with me today. How are you doing with the sunshiny weather right now?
I love it. It's actually been a really, really beautiful spring. So I'm enjoying it.
Oh, good. Well, awesome. Well, I know you can share your story about how you got here at TTEC and what your role is, and we have a lot to discuss around the rest of your journey. So could you just give us a glimpse into what your role is here at TTEC and your growth here?
Of course. I've been with TTEC for about 12 years. I started in operations and moved to project management, where I was working with on client launches and internal initiatives throughout the organization, before landing in my current role with marketing, overseeing a variety of initiatives and projects for our go-to-market organization.
It's so cool, Sarah, because I've worked with you over the years, and to really get to have you here today and spotlight your journey is so great because it's fun when you work with someone via email or Zoom meetings, and now we're actually here getting to have a conversation together. So at the top of the show, we talked about how April brings Neurodiversity Month. And that may be something that is new to our audience. It may be that people are of the community that are joining us here today, leaders of people in the neurodiverse community. So many different directions we could take with that conversation. But could you give us a high level of what is the neurodiverse community and why are we celebrating it this month?
Well, neurodiversity spans multiple conditions, representing a range of differences, both in brain function, behavioral traits, and those are present across all demographics. It's actually estimated that about 30 to 40% of our global population is neurodiverse, which is probably higher than most people would think. It's suspected to be higher, actually, but because of fear of bias, discrimination, and lack of access to proper healthcare, we just don't have proper visibility. And in keeping with our theme of Neurodiversity Month, there isn't a lot of focus on the strengths of neurodiverse individuals, So we hope to highlight those throughout the month with various activities that we have planned. And it would take all day to list out all the benefits of neurodiversity, but I'll comment on one only. Neurodiverse individuals are particularly good at seeing the world from a different perspective. And what this does is allow us to see so many other facets of a particular topic and really be able to create some truly innovative solutions in all areas of our lives. By empowering these individuals and letting them shine, we all reap the benefits.
There's so many things in what you just said, Sarah, from the percentage of people and maybe, like you said, it's underreported, and that percentage is higher, which means most of us probably know somebody, in this community on this call, which is why I'm really happy that you joined us today to really help shine the light on this topic so that we can all become more educated around it. And like you said, there's so many strengths to talk about. I'm sure that was painful for you to narrow it to just one, because I'm sure you could share more around that too.
Absolutely.
So let's jump into your journey, because that's also a strengths-based journey. And could you tell us a little bit about your approach with that and what's important about, I know during our meet and greet, you talked a lot about doing the work. So could you talk a little bit about what your journey's been and the importance of doing the work?
Absolutely. Well, I was diagnosed with ADHD as an adult. So I didn't have a really long history of education or treatment going back to childhood that would have helped me understand how an ADHD mind worked. And so, in an effort to be the best version of myself, I was really left to my own devices to figure out what I needed, where I thrived, and where my interpretation of the world differed from those around me. Like, it wasn't obvious that I thought everybody thought like me, and that really wasn't necessarily the case. And what this did was sometimes translated into a false sense of failure and frustration that was really misplaced. So when I went through the ADHD testing, suddenly so much made sense. And the more I learned about neurodiversity and really took a better look at myself, I started to see where I needed to adjust, where I needed to develop additional skills or strategies, and really started to appreciate the things about myself that were truly assets, both in my personal and professional life. So, um, this I don't want to give the false impression that this was in any way an easy journey. It required a lot of work to find what worked for me and to rule out things that maybe worked for other people, but just weren't right for me. As an example, I have the ability to hyper focus on a particular activity or topic, and every ounce of my attention and talent is going into that. But without proper management, it can be hours that I don't leave my desk or drink something or do anything that makes sure that I'm not depleting my energy and impacting my own well-being. So in order to enable these like power sessions, um, I use tools that help me manage that. So for instance, I have a clock that's shaped like a hexagon, and each side of it has a preset timer that all I have to do is twist the clock and it will have a timer set. And that is a way to help me not go too long before I care for my own well being. Um, and it helps me hold myself accountable to not just going for hours and hours working on the same thing. And it lets me stop and do the things I know help replenish myself, go and take a drink of water, get up, stretch. Sometimes I go outside and I see my plant babies and sneak in a little bit of fresh air and vitamin D. I also I have a tendency not to remember to drink. So I have this little coaster that I use that when you set your cup on it, it sets a timer and it will ding after about 20 minutes, and that reminds me to take a drink because I will forget to do that. So there's these little things that I do. Also doing things like just writing out my to-do list. I absolutely hate writing to-do lists, but I know that it works for me, so I do it. And it really just comes down to making 100 intentional decisions every single day that not only help me be at my best, but it's really a big dose of honesty to know when something isn't working and being brave enough to change that approach and not just keep going and going and going and realize you're still trying to do things that aren't working.
I was on a call with you when the coaster lit up, and so I'm so glad that you shared that resource with us today and talking about the time clock, the hex that you have as well, and the fact that you called these like power sessions. I think
Mhm.
that's something that could be applicable to all of us in the workplace, for people who could maybe hyper focus, like you're saying, on projects, and it's like that element of replenish. I love that word that you said too, because before we can be creative or solution oriented, we really do have to replenish ourselves as well, so that we can get in that best mindset to tackle that next project. So thanks for sharing some of those elements and the courage, like you said, that it takes um, to do the work and to recognize that you need to do the work around that too. And something else that is so amazing in all of the work that you do here, you also found time to help found TTEC Minds, one of our employee resource groups, alongside amazing other volunteers I know as well. And so, could you tell us a little bit more? Because I'm a huge fan here, huge fan of TTEC Minds. I think it's been one of the ones that has been most eye-opening for me in my journey to become a better person as well. So could you share with us a bit more about TTEC Minds, and for those that are from TTEC listening, how they can get involved? And if you're not part of TTEC, maybe there's other ways and other organizations that people can learn more. But let's shine the spotlight. What's going on with TTEC Minds, and how is it contributing to employees' well-being?
We actually have some really exciting initiatives that are underway right now, and planned 2024 and beyond, with the support of several teams and individuals throughout the organization. We are currently creating low sensory rooms in TTEC sites across the globe, every single region. Low sensory spaces, for anybody who's not familiar, they're designed to promote a sense of well-being and to provide a safe space for people to find peace and to self-regulate. These spaces are for everyone, though, not just neurodiverse individuals. And we're actually finishing up our first round right now, and we'll be continuing throughout the rest of the year, probably into 2025. But the hope is that we will eventually have those in almost all of the sites across the globe.
That's so
Um,
cool. Sorry. That's so cool. That's amazing. Thank you for bringing that as a project and getting it integrated into our site design as well. Sorry, Sarah, I know you have more.
no, it's been incredibly rewarding and really interesting to see kind of how these spaces are coming together, and giving people just a place to reset is so incredibly important. But we also don't want to overlook the needs of work from home employees. Um, we're developing a space that's going to be within Mosaic for remote employees to access playlists, education, and other resources, to just take a couple of minutes out of their day to recenter and rejuvenate, because it's really, I work from home and it can be really, really hard to step away and replenish yourself. So this will be potentially an aid that they can use. We're also looking for new ways to make a difference. All the time, we're looking for new initiatives and things that we can do to give back and to help not only neurodiverse individuals but anybody. Um, and if anybody is interested in being part of TTEC Minds, there's an interest form on our Mosaic space that anybody can fill out and become part of the movement.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. Coming from an at-home employee, I look forward to that space where I can go to recharge and replenish and be my best self at work as well. So thank you for taking care of the on-site team and keeping a mind around our at-home team as well. And yes, absolutely. At TTEC, we have so many amazing employee resource groups. Head to Mosaic. That's where you can learn about all of the employee resource groups. Get involved with TTEC Minds. There's events upcoming. There's amazing podcast that's going to be out that from our Talking Off the Clock podcast. So many different resources as we celebrate the neurodiverse community, not only this month, but in all the months upcoming as well. So Sarah, again, you and I could probably talk for the next couple of hours because this is just a sliver of what we talked about during our meet and greet. But I want to make sure everybody walks away with this really important nugget that you were sharing about one of the most important elements that you've discovered on your strengths-based journey and your journey to being the best version of yourself. So everyone grab that notebook again, that phone that I was sharing earlier to take down some notes because Sarah's about to unpack a little bit more around her journey as well. So could you just share with us, what's that mindfulness practice piece all about?
I've truly found that mindfulness just empowers me to recognize when I need a new solution or how I have an opportunity to move something from good to great. But I think the most powerful piece is that it really requires an honest evaluation of where I'm at in that moment or that day or the season of my life so that I don't stagnate and I also don't overlook my strengths because it's just important to know where you're succeeding as it is to take steps to evolve. Mindfulness is not a sometimes kind of activity. It's every day and it's at the core of well-being. I strongly encourage anyone to make that commitment to themselves because the rewards are absolutely beyond measure.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much. Definitely being intentional about what we're doing. I think a couple minutes ago you referenced it's hundreds of intentional acts through
Mhm.
the day and being really mindful of that, including watering your plant babies and being sure to stay hydrated. So all of those different things that you've given us today to help us implement in our life and aspirational goals. Like you said, this isn't easy. It is doing the work. It's having the courage to step forward and say, hey, this is what I need to do to be a better version of me. And that's not all easy. But I can see from you today and your journey of where you've come that putting in the work is worth it.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much, Sarah. Speaking of work, I know you've got a lot to do as our Director of Sales Enablement. So we really appreciate your time giving us some of these, everything from the coaster to the mindfulness practice, something we can implement right away, something that can be aspirational, so that if we look back in a week from now, 2 months from now, a year from now, if we're 1% improving every day, we're going to be in a much different place. And thank you for your advice and your time today. We appreciate you being here. And anytime we can shine the spotlight on well-being, we love to do it. So thanks for giving us the opportunity to do that here today.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Have a wonderful rest of your day, Sarah. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
for everyone else that is joining us, we have amazing jobs here at TTEC. You can head over to ttechjobs.com where we have hundreds of jobs that we're hiring for around the world. We have a couple that we're going to highlight for you today on the talent show, and then we're going to highlight some in the chat as well. And you can head to ttechjobs.com, poke around, see what makes us a certified great place to work. But For right now, we're going to shine the spotlight on our senior specialist social media marketing in India. This is a hybrid role. It's joining our amazing social media team, helping us tell our story of our thousands, 60,000 plus employees around the world. So if you are in India and you are interested in joining our team and helping people to understand how they can experience TTEC, this could be the role for you. And once again, we're dropping that link in the chat. If you are in the United States, you happen to be in Concord, we have a new client that we are working with. So a really fantastic opportunity to join a financial service role in our customer service experience role as well in Concord. So if you're interested in joining a new program, you know anybody in the area, please share these roles with them. And again, if you're not in either of these two places, that's okay. We've got hundreds of other jobs on TTEC Jobs available for you. So that's a wrap for our show today. We'd like to be sure to thank Sarah for her time with us today, shining the spotlight on the importance of celebrating our strengths this Neurodiversity Month. For you, for joining us, taking the time. We know there's many ways that you can be spending and consuming your podcasts and your live events. So we appreciate you being here today. If you found this of value, please share, tag friends that you think would benefit from this, or share with your community. Like I said, Sarah had a lot of easily consumable advice and some aspirational goals that we can all look forward to. If you missed an episode, that's okay. We got you. Just head over to our TTEC profile on LinkedIn, follow us, and you'll never miss an episode again. Once again, we appreciate you all joining us today. Thanks again, Sarah, to our producers, Smearty and Dora. We thank you for being here. To all the volunteers at TTEC Minds, you're doing an amazing job. We appreciate you. We're going to see you back in 2 weeks with another amazing guest coming to us from Athens, Greece. Have a great day and evening wherever you are in the world. Thanks again.